Welcome back to the DFS Sweatshop. I am your host, the DFS Jerusalem, and you can follow me on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem, breaking down for you last night's four-game NBA slate. It was a really nice slate of games. Um, Not a lot of crazy happenings. A lot of things that we expected to happen. If you did check out the podcast from the night before, a lot of plays went off that I talked about. We had a couple duds that didn't really perform as well as I thought they would. Usually on a six-game slate or more, I would release a core of plays. We call it our core four. This is where we segment four guys and we start each lineup with those guys. Well, we didn't do that today because, of course, on the smaller slates, those are the stack slates. That's where we find the offenses that we like, the point totals that we like, and we stack those offenses. And if you did that tonight in a couple spots, you did really, really well. Probably the biggest theme of the night was after all of the value opened up was to pair Westbrook and Harden together. If you did that, I know you got really close to the cash line if you weren't far over it. But let's go ahead and jump into the feature for players of the night. These are the most talked about, most tweeted about guys in the DFS Sweatshop, in the Facebook VIP, and on our Twitter page. So we're going to start with a who dat. Scoring all them points over there, player of the night. That's going to go to Josh Richardson. At 11% ownership, 4.4K, he goes out and scores 35.75 DraftKings points. Now, 11% sounds kind of high on a regular slate, but if you can get a guy that low owned, anywhere under 20% on a four-game slate to return that type of value for you, you're definitely going to take a really positive step towards the cash line. So that's why tonight, Josh Richardson, you are the who dat, scoring all them points over there, player of the night. The next play we're going to talk about is the how did I miss that play? This is a guy that we talked about on last night's show. And it's very funny because, I've got a couple jobs, I've got a million children, it seems like sometimes, not enough hours in a day to really sit down and work on my lineups the way I was before I started this whole thing. And don't get me wrong, I love it. I love doing it. I play a lot less than I did when the season first started. But I mean, I love this side. The analyst, being the analyst is what I really really enjoy. But I do play frequently, and this is a guy that I just did not get into my lineups. We talked about him on the show. I even highlighted him and another guy as the only guys I would play from this game, and that's why. How did I miss that play? Goes to Julius Randle tonight from the LA Lakers. He had 47.5 DraftKings points. He was only 23% owned. That's a very good ownership for a guy that will return that type of value at 5.8K in salary. Didn't hurt you at all to roster him. Very, very good play was the how did I miss that play tonight in Julius Randle. Now we're going to get to the heat check play tonight. This is another guy who we really talked about a lot in depth on last time's show, and that's Marc Gasol. This guy did it all. Now, he didn't have a rebound the first half, but he did so many other things that he hung up 54.5 DraftKings points at 7.2K, 34% ownership, which is a really solid ownership for a player of that price on a slate this small. Goes out and scores 55.5 DraftKings points, 7.2K, 34% owned. That's why tonight you, Marc Gasol, are the heat check player tonight. And now we've come to a point in the show where we have to highlight that one motherfucker. This is the one motherfucker who fucked up 1/4 of every DraftKings lineup tonight. Not a very good game at all. I knew he was in a bad spot, so I feel kind of bad about bashing on this dude and making him the snowflake of the night. But come on, man. 25 DraftKings points? Bro, 8.7K. You went out and you robbed 1/4 of everybody who put their money in DFS today, and you brought them back 25.5 DraftKings points at 27% ownership. Tonight, Hassan Whiteside, you a motherfucking snowflake with your snowflake ass. You a motherfucking snowflake tonight. Let's go and get on with the rest of the show. I don't even want to get too deep into it. But tonight, you a motherfucking snowflake. You a snowflake tonight. Now, What we're going to do now is we're going to jump into a quick recap of last night's games. And the reason why we do this is so that we can have a really good point of reference when it comes to what we're going to do going forward. Remember, DFS, basketball, sports in general, especially basketball, it's a game of runs, trends, things of that nature. The more you watch the games, the more you are in touch with what is happening inside of each game, the better you're going to be at reading the next trend, the next run. You're going to be really good at doing that. That's what I attribute my success to, is the fact that I've been able to watch so much NBA film. And I know all of you can't do that. I watch it for you, and I come back and report what I see to you. That's how we do it. So let's go ahead and start with the first game on the slate. It was the Boston Celtics at home taking on the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, this was a game that we knew a lot of people were going to be invested in, but that even heightened later on in the day when we found out that Mike Conley was not going to be playing. Now, this opened up value in Andrew Harrison that people were able to go ahead and pay up for both Harden and Westbrook and get both of those guys in their lineups. And that's why it's so important that you've got to have an avenue to where you can be in touch with what's going on Twitter or on any site that you frequent very close to the lock, so you can make those changes on the fly. If you're not able to do that, you're going to have a tough time cashing consistently in NBA DFS or any DFS sport for that matter. So you've got to stay in tune to what's going on minutes, sometimes seconds before lineups lock. Let's go ahead and jump into the recap. We're going to start on the Boston side of the ball, where Jay Crowder had a pretty decent game. He played 31 minutes and had 17 points and 7 rebounds. That was a good game from him. He also had a block to go with that, too. We saw a really nice game from Amir Johnson at his price point at 3.4K. We were looking for a huge return on him, but we did get something nice. We got 4 points, 10 boards, 2 assists, and 2 steals. Pretty good game from him. Al Horford underwhelmed in his 34 minutes. He had 11 points, 4 boards, 5 assists, and 2 blocks. And Avery Bradley was actually one of the better plays in this game. He had 23 points, 7 boards, 4 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block. Isaiah Thomas had a really tough night out. Now, 30-something DraftKings points is not horrible, but on a slate like this, when you invest that much in a point guard, especially, the people that rostered him, me included, we thought we got a steal. Once we found out that we weren't going to see Mike Conley, because we know how solid and sound this team is defensively with Mike Conley on the floor. Once we knew that we weren't going to see Mike Conley, we were even more invested. And kind of, once I figured this out, I found that out, I actually moved some shit around and put Isaiah Thomas in more lineups than I had him in initially. And it did not prove to be a good move. In 33 minutes, he had 21 points, 7 assists, and 1 rebound. Not a great game from him at all at that price point. Marcus Smart was a really nice play. 13 points, 4 rebounds, and 6 assists to go with 2 steals and 1 block. So he hit every tick on the stat sheet. We talked a lot in the last show about Kelly Olynyk, who I really liked. This dude went out and had three quick fouls in the first half. A quick foul as soon as the third quarter started, but he still ended up seeing 17 minutes, and he had 5 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists. Gerald Green came out of nowhere and just went ham. Was just knocking down jump shots. He played 18 minutes and had 19 points to go with 5 boards, 1 assist, and 1 block. And see, those 3-pointers are big because you get the extra bonus for hitting the 3-pointer. So they're really 3.5 points every time you hit one. So he had a really nice game. I think he hit 4 3-pointers in this game. On the Memphis side, now you could have really stacked this Memphis team, especially like we talked about the news of Mike Conley sitting. That really opened up value. We talked about Andrew Harrison already. He had a really nice game out, 12 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals. And this dude played 44 minutes. He played a ton of minutes tonight. Could have really went ham. We saw Zebo off of the bench. He played 28 minutes, and we talked about him wanting to attack the Boston rebounding. That's what we do. There's certain things that's law, man. And when the Boston Celtics are playing, we've got to find a guy who's going to make them pay on the offensive boards, defensive boards. Excuse me. So Zebo in 28 minutes had 16 points, 10 boards, and 2 assists to go with 1 steal. Pretty nice game from him. Somebody who I wasn't really on had a nice game too. Tony Allen, man, in 34 minutes he had 17 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, and 4 steals. He is one of the better defensive players in the league, especially on or around the perimeter. Marc Gasol, we talked about him, the heat check player of the night. He played 38 minutes and had 26 points to go with 9 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 steals, and 3 blocks. Really nice game from him. We even saw 11 points and a triple one from James Ennis. He had 1 rebound, 1 assist, and 1 steal to go with those 11 points. And Jermichael Green had 8 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. Pretty good game from him. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the Miami Heat at home against the Oklahoma City Thunder. This game was a blowout. It was over before it started. We saw a ton of Russell Westbrook. This dude almost had a triple-double in the first half. He went the fuck off. We're going to start on the Oklahoma City side. We just talked about Russell Westbrook, man. In 36 minutes, he had 29 points, 17 boards, and 11 assists. That was a big triple-double for him. Enes Kanter off of the bench in 33 minutes had 19 and 8 to go with 2 assists and 1 steal. He was somebody we highlighted on the show. We liked him a lot too, as well as Steven Adams. He had 15 and 8 to go with 1 assist and 2 blocks. Pretty good game from him. Didn't see much else from anyone on the Oklahoma City side. Alex Abrines did score 14 points and grab 2 boards and also block a shot in his 22 minutes. On the Miami side, this is where a lot of us thought we were going to see, low, just good value plays that we could more or less stack because we knew we really weren't high on Whiteside in this matchup. So, but those guys really didn't perform well. The guys that had been sitting came out and played pretty decently, but the guys that were already out there in tune with the offense, as those guys that were hurt were sitting, they really didn't play very well. Justice Winslow only had 7 points, but he did have 5 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, and 3 rebounds in 34 minutes. But we need to see more scoring from him to justify that higher than 5K salary. Hassan Whiteside, we talked about him with his snowflake ass. In 31 minutes, he had 12 points, 8 boards, 1 assist, and 2 steals. Josh Richardson is what really led the team in scoring. We talked about him. He was the who that scoring all them points over there player tonight. He had 22 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1 steal. Pretty good game from him. Josh Johnson chipped in 16 and 5 to go with 2 assists and 2 steals in his 24 minutes off of the bench. We also saw 15 and 2 to go with 2 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block in 30 minutes for Tyler Johnson. The next game we're going to talk about is going to be the Dallas Mavericks at home against the Houston Rockets. I really didn't think that this game was going to blow out the way it did. I think bringing back Dirk Nowitzki and bringing back Bogut to play limited minutes really fucked up the chemistry of this team. And when I found out that they were going to be bringing those guys back, I kind of shifted my stance on my ownership when it came to the Dallas Mavericks. Dirk, it's over. It's over. Give the team up. Give the team up. I'm not saying quit and don't play no more, but get healthy to the point to where you can come in, play 20 minutes, stand around the three-point line, knock down a couple three-pointers, and sit your ass down and let the young Bucks run. That's what needs to happen. Andrew Bogut, it's over. Like, stop with these guys, man. Because there's really, really good players on this team that just don't get the usage. When the first quarter, man, they were forcing Dirk Nowitzki the ball. Like, why would you force this old, beat-up, hurt guy to take one-legged jumpers when you've got able-bodied guys that can go out and score the basketball? I have no idea why they're doing this, and it proves to be their undoing tonight as they got the doors blown off of them at home in Dallas. We're going to start on the Houston side in our analysis where Ryan Anderson in 28 minutes had 22 points, 3 rebounds, 1 steal, and 1 block. We also saw a decent game from Trevor Ariza until he got tossed. He had 9 points and 7 rebounds to go with 1 assist and 1 steal. James Harden, we talked about him, went out and had a nice double-double, 34 points, 5 rebounds, and 11 assists to go with the block. Pretty good game from him. And Yosemite Sam Decker, somebody who we talked about here in the sweatshop, went out and had 9 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals. And I was cheering for this dude to get that last point to go and hit that double-double bonus for me, but that did not happen. Eric Gordon, in his 27 minutes off the bench, had 13 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1 block. Pretty good game from him. Nene also had 12 points and 8 rebounds to go with 1 steal and 1 block. And we didn't see much from Montrezl Harrell. He played more minutes than Nene, but he only had 7 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 block. Not a great game from him. On the Dallas side of the ball, a lot of underachieving went on. As we stated when we first started, we got a combined 25 minutes from Dirk Nowitzki and Andrew Bogut. We didn't need that. We needed more Harrison Barnes. We needed more Darren Williams. We needed more Lil Brea off of the bench. We didn't need Andrew Bogut not scoring and grabbing 6 boards to go with 2 assists and 2 blocks. We didn't need Dirk Nowitzki getting 7 points and 3 boards in 15 minutes. We didn't need that. Harrison Barnes, not a great game from him. In 31 minutes, he had 21 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist. Wesley Matthews had 19 with 1 rebound, 1 assist, and 1 steal. Not a good game from him. And Darren Williams, in his 23 minutes, had 6 points, 3 boards, 6 assists. Not a good game from him at all. This was a horrible showing for the Dallas Mavericks starters. The only bright spot we saw was Justin Anderson in 21 minutes had 13 and 8 to go with 2 assists, 1 steal, and 2 blocks and some scrub love. Also, Dwight Powell, he had 13 to go with 2 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1 steal in his 23 minutes. Bad showing for the Dallas Mavericks. The last game on the slate and the most entertaining game on the slate was the LA Lakers at home against the Utah Jazz. This was a really, really good game, and we saw some nice plays in this game. Gordon Hayward went up and banged on one of them. It was nice. It was beautiful. 34 minutes for him. He had 31 points, fell 1 rebound shy of that double-double bonus. He had 3 assists, 1 block, and, of course, the 9 rebounds. A pretty good game we saw from Gordon Hayward. Not a lot of goodness from everybody else on the team, though. We didn't really see much from everybody else. Now, Rudy Gobert did get a double-double, but it was a small double-double. We want 25 and 12. We don't want 12 and 11. We want 30 and 10. We want those. We want those. If you say you're the best center in the league, those are the type of performances that will lead us to believe that. And in 37 minutes, he had 12 points, 11 boards, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 2 blocks. Rodney Hood stank up the motherfucking joint. This dude is not ready to play. 24 minutes, he had 2 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist. Horrible game from him. Even saw a bad game from Shelvin Mack, who is usually pretty solid. That price is up on him a little bit too high. And if it was a 6-7 game slate, I would not have rostered him at all. In 32 minutes, he saw 9 points. They go with 1 rebound and 3 assists. Not good for him at all. Joel Ingles had 13 and 2 to go with 2 assists and 1 steal and hit a very big 3 at the end of the game to really push for the Utah Jazz to win this game. Derek Favors, he played 21 minutes, so he went over that 15-minute limit that we thought we were going to see for him, but he only had 8 points, 6 boards, 1 assist, and 1 steal. Not a great game from him, but he was only 38K. He was only 3.8K, so that wasn't bad. That wasn't bad for him at all. Joe Johnson had 10 rebounds to go with an assist, a steal, and a block in his 16 minutes, and we didn't see much from anyone else on the Lakers side. Luol Deng fell a point and a rebound shy of that double-double bonus. He had 9 points, 9 boards, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block in his 33 minutes. We also saw a really nice game from Julius Randle. Strong drink, hold up. Right out. Really good game we saw from Julius Randle. 25 points to go with 12 boards, 3 assists, and 1 steal. Nice game from Julius Randle. How did I miss that play tonight? Jordan Clarkson jumped off of the bench and had 12 and 5 to go with 3 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. And we saw 22 from Sweet Lou Williams. You know, he was stumbling and bumbling and fumbling and knocking down jump shots, but he only grabbed 2 boards and had 3 assists. Not much else for him. And Timothy Mozgov, in 26 minutes, had 9 points, 4 boards, 1 assist, 2 steals, and 1 block. Pretty decent game for him at that price point. So, excuse me. Now that we've jumped into that recap of last night's games, what we're going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and pull up my very best DraftKings lineup just to give you an idea of what was going through my head and what happened while this all went down, right? You know what? It's a 4-game slate. I posted it on Twitter. Really don't feel like digging through and changing the batteries to the controllers and shit. No, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna stick with the regular format of the show. I've got to do this. So while I'm doing this, I'm gonna give a special shout out to the homie at Envious One on Twitter. This dude is a regular member, a regular contributor to the DFS Sweatshop. He's been with us for a very long time, since our very beginning, and he went out upon the suggestion, the advice, the information, everything that he gets from his own personal studies as well as the DFS Sweatshop. He went out and took down second place in the NBA SWAT that's on FanDuel. Very nice showing from him. Thank you so much for being a part of the DFS Sweatshop. And that's why I speak the way I do. you all know that I am, mostly a DraftKings guy, but I play FanDuel as well. And I try to speak in terms of players and not just pricing so that you can apply the things that I'm saying or the plays that I give or whatever advice I may have when it comes to NBA DFS, you can apply that to FanDuel as well. Now, we do have a couple of, I want to say affiliates that are solely, entrenched in FanDuel. One of them being the Sports World 365. They're probably filming this show right now. There's some really cool guys, Kyle and George. You can go over there and check them out. But they give like detailed. The way I am with DraftKings, they do that with FanDuel. So you can definitely go over there and check those guys out. But I just say that to say, whenever I talk about NBA players, I'm talking about NBA players. It's not just site specific. We can talk about anybody. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into my very best DraftKings lineup just to give you a look at what we were doing here. And I'm going to show you two. Let's go and jump into it. Okay. Here we are. Now, these are all plays that we talked about on the show. This is one of my best DraftKings lineup. This is all plays that we talked about on the show. Remember, if we talked about last night's show, we knew that Russell Westbrook was the highest priced guy on there. We talked about him. We talked about liking James Harden at his price point, being the second highest guy on the slate. I talked about maybe getting into stacking the Houston bench because the game could possibly blow out. That's where we got Eric Gordon from. That's where we got Yosemite's Two Gun Sam Decker from. That's where we got him from. Of course, we talked about Russell Westbrook already. Now, when the news opened up that we weren't going to see Mike Conley, that's when we definitely pivoted to Andrew Harrison. I liked Amir Johnson. We talked about that on the last show. And Justice Winslow was a play that I really liked, even though it did not pan out very, very well for me. In this lineup, we got 295 DraftKings points. That was a really good showing from this lineup. Let's jump into the next one. This is my very best DraftKings lineup right here. And I was heavier Harden on the slate than I was Westbrook. I was way much heavier on Harden. I believe in the 10 lineups, I had one or the other in every one. I had both of them in two, and I had Harden in maybe six lineups total. I had in the other four I had Westbrook, but I had them paired together in a couple of them. Now this is the one that we're going to talk about. James Harden, of course, out of the two high dollar guys, he was the one I liked the most. We talked about how much I loved Gordon Hayward on the last show. There goes Sam Decker again. I was very high on him. We wanted to get Marc Gasol and Andrew Harrison in there. Once we found out, when we found out that Conley was going to be out, I knew that the usage would shift to Marc Gasol. And maybe, just maybe, Andrew Harrison would have a decent game in the midst of all that. Amir Johnson was somebody we liked again. And Isaiah Thomas was somebody who I liked once once we knew that Mike Conley wasn't going to play. Tyler Johnson rounded out this lineup, and he really didn't have a great game. And this lineup netted me a total of 308.25 DraftKings points. So I did hit the 300 club tonight. Feels good, always does when you're able to get over that 300 mark, like a lot of you did, especially you at Envious One, the big homie on Twitter, and in the DFS sweatshop. Now we've got a huge slate of games tomorrow, a nice 10-game slate. I think it's gonna be really fun. It's gonna be a really fun slate. Let's take into consideration that point guards have been having a tough time lately, and it's been hard for point guards lately. We look over the last couple of slates, man. We've seen a lot of not so great point guard play, and I think that kind of changes tomorrow. Let's go ahead and jump into the player pricing pool, because tomorrow we're going to go back to our regular format where I'll be releasing the core four. This is where my core four starts. The first thing I do, and I do this way just for a reason. This is the way I do it. I'm going to jump into our player pricing so we can get, and it's really quick while we're here. I just want to show you. We've got different slates tomorrow. We've got a 4-game late. We've got 2-game turbo. We've got a 3-game later. We've got a 3-game turbo and a 2-game latest. Now, once we get into the point totals and we look at those and we see if those are really high, I already know one is going to be really high. There's a good chance that some of the late games will cash. Let's say if we section off, let's say we just section off the 4 games, and we just deal with those 4 games. We take those games, throw them in those players from those 4 games, throw them in the blender, see what it spits out, and we like it. If we like that and we think it can cash in the late, there's a good chance that it could cash in the main. Because on a 10-game slate, everyone is going to be rostering, everyone is going to be all over the place. It kind of lowers the cash line. You see how tonight the cash line was up almost around 200, up around 300? It's because the slate was so small, we had a condensed area to choose players in, so most people picked the same good plays. The winning and losing wasn't as far from each other as they are on a 10-game slate. So that is a strategy that I employ a lot, where I might, especially on a large slate like this, I will jump in one of these 4-game slates, make a lineup, and then take it and transfer it to the main 10-game slate. Because the cash line, a lot of times the cash line is around 265 in the 265, 270 in the main slate, but the cash line is 280 in the turbo or the 4 games, 290 there. So if you can cash nicely in there, you can definitely cash nicely in the 10-game main slate. That's just something, just a little pro tip for y'all. See, I'm not just about this is strategy. This is not just X's and O's and basketball. This is strategy. There's a strategy involved in the shit too. So let's go ahead and jump into this. We're gonna pull up the 10 games so we can get a good look at everyone on the slate, and we're gonna start right here. Can you get a good look at that? All right. Now here's where we see the most expensive guy on tomorrow's slate is going to be DeMarcus Cousins. Now Boogie is at 11.4K, so that's good. We don't have to worry about Russell Westbrook, or James Harden, none of that bullshit. 11.4K for DeMarcus Cousins in a plus matchup. As we can see, the light is green. It's a plus matchup against the Portland Trail Blazers, who may be playing without Dame Lillard. So does that mean that Sacramento blows them out? No. Without Dame Lillard and with CJ McCollum running the point, this is a more competitive game. I think being at the Moda Center is also something that can keep the game competitive. So I do like Boogie Cousins tomorrow. He's going to be a really nice play, in my opinion. I think he's definitely somewhere we can go tomorrow. Next is going to be Anthony Davis at 11.1K. Now I'm going to say this to you. The last time out, the LA Clippers played the Denver Nuggets, and Nikola Jokic ate their fucking lunch, right? Now, let's not forget that with Blake Griffin, JJ Redick, and Chris Paul out, the Clippers are a bad team. They're a bad team. They're not the Clippers. With those 3 guys out, they are not the Clippers. So Anthony Davis going up against a bad team is definitely in play for me. Definitely in play for me. I like Anthony Davis tomorrow. I think he's going to go under owned because a lot of people are going to see, they're playing the Clippers, and they're not going to want to go all in on Anthony Davis. But I think he is definitely a play that we can look to tomorrow. Giannis Antetokounmpo at 10K flat. That means he needs 60 points in a very slow pace game against the Detroit Pistons at Detroit. I don't like him tomorrow. I probably won't have him anywhere in my lineups. Kevin Durant is probably right now the front runner for my favorite play on the slate, the guy who probably scores the most points on the night. Kevin Durant is in a really, really plus matchup against DeMar Carroll. He's going to destroy that dude. And this game could stay close because the one area where we know the Golden State Warriors are weakest defensively is around the perimeter. Well, that is the main strength of the Toronto Raptors. And point guards can get off against Golden State. So I do see the game being fairly close. I don't think it's going to be a blowout like we have seen in recent games from the Golden State Warriors. They are going to come out wanting to play, just that big scrappy game against the Cleveland Cavaliers. But they took a loss in that game and they're going to want to get a W. I think they do, but I think it's because we see a lot of Kevin Durant plays in the fourth quarter, and the Toronto Raptors keep it just close enough for the game to really matter down the stretch. Now, John Wall, another player I really like. Now the price is up on Wall here, and a lot of people are going to chase his teammate for points. He just had that big game talking about Otto Porter, but I do like John Wall tomorrow against Jeff Teague defense. I think he is definitely going to play at 9.5, but just be prepared if he just gives you 45 points. Just be prepared if he just gives you 45 points. Because here, he has to score damn near 60 to make value. We're talking about, 55 DraftKings points is what we need from John Wall tomorrow in order to make that 6x value. So I don't know how sure I am about that, but this is a superior talent. He can definitely do it. Chris Paul is going to be questionable tomorrow. We're going to learn more about that as the day goes on. Karl Anthony Towns is somebody who I really like in this matchup at 8.7K. Now, a lot of people are going to chase the Jokic points. They're going to say, oh, man, this dude put up 50. He's matchup proof. You got to start him. But let's not forget, 3 games ago, he was fouled out in the third fucking quarter. He was sitting on the bench the whole first half because he had 3 fouls playing against an uber athletic center or power forward. So I think that Karl Anthony Towns does bring that avenue to the game to where he can be so active around a low block. And he's a focal point on the team. It's not like he's going to get he's not going to just get the ball or he's going to get the ball like loosely. No, they target Karl Anthony Towns. They feed him the ball, and they're going to do that because they know that Jokic is an overly aggressive defensive player. So if I had to choose between him and Jokic tomorrow, I would definitely go Towns. I think Towns is the safer play. Of course, Jokic is cheaper and has the most. It has more upside when you factor in salary, but Jokic can go off for 70 points easy. So I do like Karl Anthony Towns tomorrow. Dame Lillard is questionable at 8.5K. If he plays, I don't like him just because he's just coming off that questionable tag. Jimmy Butler at 8.4 in a very plus matchup against the Brooklyn Nets. Now, Jimmy has not been performing very well lately, so I don't think a lot of people are going to be on him. I kind of like him tomorrow. If he's going to see a lot of RHJ defense, it could make it a little tougher for him, but I think I will have some light exposure to Jimmy Butler tomorrow. Kawhi Leonard at 8.3. If this game wasn't going to be a blowout, I would definitely like him tomorrow. This game is going to blow up. There's going to be no need to pay 8.3K for Kawhi Leonard. You've got people like Karl Anthony Towns. You've got Kyle Lowry here. You've got John Wall. Just another grand higher. Steph Curry. There's no need to play Kawhi Leonard tomorrow. Steph Curry is at 8.1K. A decent play. I kind of like that, especially since I think the game is going to be close. Kemba Walker is a no for me at 8K. Orlando does play very well against the point guard position, and I would much rather pay 100 less and get Nick Batum, somebody who I know will not be affected adversely by the Orlando defense, than pay up for Kemba Walker. Blake Griffin, we know he's going to be out tomorrow. DeMar DeRozan is definitely in play at 7.8K. If they're going to be scoring on the Toronto side, it's only going to come through two people. It's either going to be DeMar DeRozan or it's going to be Kyle Lowry or both. So I think tomorrow is one of those times where I can tell you, go ahead and fire him up, Lowry and DeRozan. Draymond Green is definitely in play at 7.7 in this game. Paul George, I like him. The price is down, 7.7K. The price is down, and I really think this could be a nice game we see from Paul George. Carmelo Anthony is a no for me at 7.6 against the Atlanta Hawks. CJ McCollum is at 7.6 is definitely in play. Somebody had a bad dream. Come here. Excuse me, you had a bad dream? Okay. She's a usual regular to the show. Now, CJ McCollum at 7.6K is definitely in play if we don't see Dame Lillard. If we do see Dame, I still like him, but I really love him tomorrow at 7.6K if we do not see Dame Lillard. Kristaps Porzingis at 7.5 is in play. Now, we've got an injury note coming up on the Atlanta Hawks side, so we're going to be paying attention to that. If that's real, if Paul Millsap is he's questionable, got elbowed in the eye the other night, so I think there's going to be a questionable tag for him later on in the day. So I do like Kristaps Porzingis tomorrow at 7.5. We got Dwight Howard at 7.3, who is definitely in play against that putrid New York front court. You've got Jeff Teague at 7.2. I don't like him tomorrow. That price is too high on Jeff Teague. Andre Drummond at 7.1 is in play against Milwaukee. DeAndre Jordan at 7K until Chris Paul comes back. There's no way I can roster DeAndre Jordan for that much with confidence. I just can't do it. There's no need to pay to play anybody from the Phoenix side against the San Antonio Spurs tomorrow at home in San Antonio. There's no need for that. Dennis Schroeder at 6.9. I would say he's in play, even though this is the 8th ranked DVP against point guards. I still think we can see a decent game from Dennis Schroeder. Jabari Parker is a no for me at 6.9. LaMarcus Aldridge is a no for me at 6.9. I don't need that from him. Brook Lopez is definitely in play against his brother. He will destroy his brother. He has done so in the past. 6.8 is a really nice price for a guy that can go ahead and hang up 50 DraftKings points against his brother. That's good. Dwayne Wade, 6.6 is in play for me. I like Andrew Wiggins, but just not as much as somebody else on his team. So I won't be seeing much of Andrew Wiggins. I will use him as maybe a hedge play in case his teammate doesn't do what I think he's going to do. But I love one of his teammates tomorrow. Klay Thompson is in play at 6.5. Definitely, this is one of my favorite plays on the slate for a myriad of reasons. Number one, he's been playing shitty the last couple times out. Number two, Zach LaVine can ball. He can ball, bro. He can ball. And I like him in this matchup. He's going to be seeing uh, Gary Harris, who's a decent defender, very decent defender. But this is going to be such an up-pace, up-tempo game with so much ruckus being created in the center of the floor between Karl Anthony Towns and Nikola Jokic. I think that this dude is going to be out around the three-point line, knocking down jump shots, getting those kick-out passes from Karl Anthony Towns, slashing, cutting to the basket. I like Zach LaVine tomorrow. Nikola Jokic at 6.4. He is a play that you can have at your own risk. I mean, he's approaching that realm where in certain slates you just gotta roster him. Just play it safe and play Nikola Jokic, right? But I don't think tomorrow's one of those times. I am gonna have exposure to him, but only very light exposure to him. If I got 10 lineups tomorrow, he may be in one or two. I just like Karl Anthony Towns that much tomorrow. Bradley Beal is in play, especially if you already have thoughts of getting John Wall in the lineup and you want to pair him with somebody, because somebody that good like John Wall, who does all he does, you might want to grab one of his teammates. And I think everybody's going to be chasing Otto Porter. Bradley Beal is going to see a small amount of ownership because of that. Derrick Rose is in play at 6.3. We know how horrible Atlanta has been this season against the point guard position, so I definitely think Derrick Rose is in play. Miles Turner at 6.3 is in play against Washington. I like Drew Holiday at 6.3 as well. Rudy Gay against Portland is definitely in play for me. Serge Ibaka, now you know you can attack Charlotte rebounding. You can definitely do that. So you've got to give a good look to Serge Ibaka. I kind of like him tomorrow too. Devin Booker is a no for me. Nikolai Vucevic, 6.1K if you want a cheaper way to attack Charlotte rebounding. Even though he's not starting, he's still going to see minutes. I do like him tomorrow. Elfrid Payton is a no for me. Evan Fournier is questionable, may not play tomorrow, so we've got to keep an eye on that. Ricky Rubio at 5.9. He's such a savvy player, and he had a bad game out last time. I think that we can give him a look, definitely. Danilo Gallinari is a no for me at 5.9. Rajon Rondo is a no for me at 5.9. And watch the funny part about this. He's probably going to have a good game tomorrow because I was on him a day early, and he shit the bed for me, so I'm just not going to roster him tomorrow. Otto Porter is a no at 5.9. Everybody's going to chase those points from last time. I don't like him tomorrow. Jeremy Lin is going to be questionable tomorrow. Remember, he left the last game with injury and didn't return. Thaddeus Young is in play at 5.8. I like him. Paul Gasol is a no. Will Barton is a no for me tomorrow, as well as Martin Gortat at 5.7. I like him. Mason Plumlee is in a very plus matchup. I like him tomorrow. Wilson Chandler is in play for me. Even though this is a third-ranked DVP, I still like Wilson Chandler. The price is down on him just enough to where if we see that upside that he exhibited during the first few games of the season, it could definitely be a really good game for him. Trevor Booker is in play at 5.6. Gorgie Jang is a no. Tobias Harris at 5.5 is in play. KCP is also in play at 5.4. I kind of like him. Jonas is a no because we know the Golden State Warriors are going to take him off of the bench. Hold on one second. Let me tuck my baby in the bed. Come on. That's the baby girl right there. I have to tuck her in. Sorry about that. Where were we? Jamal Crawford at 5.4. He is in play definitely if we don't see Chris Paul tomorrow. Sean Kilpatrick. Remember the Jeremy Lin news. He is definitely in play at 5.4. A bigger guy going up against Rajon Rondo. I like him tomorrow. JJ Redick is questionable. Reggie Jackson, I kind of like him tomorrow at 5.2. Markieff Morris is a no for me, but he did have a good game out against them last time out. So he's somebody that we can look at, but I won't have him in very many lines if I have him in any. Cody Zeller at 5.1 is a no for me tomorrow. John Lure, no. Taj Gibson, no. Gary Harris, no. Aaron Gordon is in play at 4.9 if you want to attack the Charlotte rebounding the cheapest possible way. Him and Bismack Biyombo are going to be ways to do that. Austin Rivers at 4.9 is a no for me. Emmanuel Mudiay at 4.8 is in play. He is in play for me tomorrow. I like him tomorrow. Kenneth Faried at 4.8 is definitely in play against the Minnesota Timberwolves. They're going to want a rebounding presence down there, and especially if we see maybe some early foul trouble for Jokic, we're going to see a lot of Faried. Robert Lopez against his brother, 4.8. He's in play because the salary is just so low on him. Michael K. Gilchrist is in play at 4.8. I like him. Kent Bazemore is still dead to me. Raymond Felton is a no for me. TJ Warren, the price is down to 4.7 for him. He goes out and has a bad game against San Antonio Spurs, and the price stays the same or even gets lower. We can roster TJ Warren on the next slate the next time he plays. He's good, but he's not going to have a good game tomorrow. Davos Cephalosha is in play at 4.6 for me. Bojan Bogdanovic is not in play for me. Marcus Morris is not in play at 4.6 for me. Nikolai Mirotic is in play at 4.6. Terrence Jones is in play at 4.6. Maurice Harkless is somebody who I like at 4.6. Marvin Williams is a yes for me. Bismack Biyombo, the cheapest way we can attack the Charlotte rebounding is Bismack Biyombo at 4.4. He's probably going to get the start. I like him. Now, Greg Monroe, there's a narrative here. Greg Monroe was playing in the shadow of Andre Drummond and wanted to escape that really bad. And he did, and went to Milwaukee. So he's going to be seeing some court time against Andre Drummond. I really think he has a decent game, especially for that 4.3 price point. And since we've been seeing bad games in succession from John Henson. He hasn't been playing well at all. Darren Collison is the second man on the dead to me list. I want nothing to do with that gentleman tomorrow. Tyson Chandler's a no at 4.3 going up against San Antonio. Mo Buckets is in play at 4.2 if you want to play down cheap. Evan Turner is a player who I really like at 4.2 if we don't see Dame Lillard tomorrow. Brandon Knight is a no. Tony Parker is a no for me. Joakim Noah is a no for me. John Henson is a no for me. DeMar Carroll, no. Rodney Hollis Jefferson can be a decent play because if he has to guard Jimmy Butler, who plays a lot of minutes on the Chicago side, that means we're going to see him on the floor a lot. And while he's out there, he does do stuff. He just doesn't score a lot of points, but he does score a lot of fantasy points in those point per minute sense. Marco Bellinelli is going to be out, so that puts Jeremy Lamb in play for us tomorrow. Al-Farouq Aminu is another play I like around 4K. There's a lot of Portland guys that are going to see usage bumps if Dame Lillard doesn't play. Al-Farouq Aminu is one of those guys. I like him tomorrow. The price is still very low on him coming off of that injury. He played a lot of minutes last time out. I think he's good to go. Patty Mills, 4K is definitely in play for us tomorrow. Brandon Jennings is in play at 3.9 as a point guard punt. Kyle Korver is a no for me. Kyle O'Quinn is a no. Cole Aldridge, Malcolm Brogdon is not in play for me at 3.9. The point total is probably just going to be too low in this game. The pace is too slow. I don't like Malcolm Brogdon tomorrow as a punt option. Pat is going to be a nice punt play at 3.9. Jody Meeks again at 3.9 is a good play if we don't see Evan Fournier tomorrow. Frank Kaminsky is a no. Hardaway Jr. is probably going to be questionable, may not play tomorrow. Courtney Lee, the same with him at 3.8. Della Vadova at 3.8 is not in play. I don't like him. Lucas Nogueira, no. Justin Hamilton. Now, we may see more Nogueira than we see. It might be a good play. We might see more Lucas Nogueira than we see. Damn, the man name doesn't skip my mind. Just because he is way more athletic than Jonas Valanciunas, way more athletic, and he could definitely run with that small ball lineup that we're going to see from the Golden State Warriors. So he could be in play as a punt option at center for 3.8K. We like that. CJ Miles is in play at 3.8 as a punt option as well. Jeremy Lamb is probably my favorite punt play tomorrow at 3.8. We're going to see a lot of him, as we already know. Marco Bellinelli is out this game. PJ Tucker at 3.8 is a no. Mike Muscala, no. Alan Crabbe is in play at 3.7. He might get the start against Portland against Sacramento. If he does, I kind of like him tomorrow as a punt play. Danny Green is a no. Dwayne Dedman is a no. Alex Lynn is 3.7. I don't like that. So we've got a ton of options tomorrow. Omri Caspi at 3.5 is definitely in play against the Portland Trailblazers tomorrow. Manu Ginobili is in play at 3.5. You like him. Jameer Nelson is at 3.4. He hasn't been seeing a lot of minutes lately, but if Moutier plays bad, he's going to see some minutes. Andre Iguodala at 3.4. He can be in play as a punt option as well. Kelly Oubre Jr. is a no. Shabazz Napier, Matt Barnes. Dragon Bender, 3.4K. And we talked about, last time out, people did roster Dragon Bender. Like 0.08% of people roster Dragon Bender. I'm not going there tomorrow either. Jaja 3.3 is in play as a punt option at center. Jefferson always jumps off of the bench and has a really quick amount of points, good points against Washington. He is in play as a punt option as well. Al Jefferson here. Costa Kufos is a no. So we've got some good options, man. Let's go ahead and jump into the point totals. And we're going to run through these very quickly because I hate when the shows are so long. I do not want you all to lose interest. Let's go ahead and keep it going. We're going to jump into the first game on the slate. This is going to be the Charlotte Hornets traveling to Orlando to take on the Orlando Magic. This is it's not a point total release for this game yet, just because we've got a couple injuries we need to work through first. We've got Evan Fournier on the Orlando side. We know Marco Bellinelli is going to be out on the Charlotte side. We know Orlando is really good against point guards. Point guards just don't score a lot of points against them. They don't play very well against them. But you can always attack Orlando around the bigs. So if I had to look at anyone from the Charlotte side to attack Orlando, it would definitely be a guy who plays from the inside out sometime or can play, different ways. And that would be Nick Batum. I like Nick Batum tomorrow. I think he's going to be a really good play against the Orlando Magic tomorrow. I like Nick Batum. I think Kemba's going to be a very popular play for a lot of people tomorrow, just because it projects well when you look at him matched up against Elfrid Payton or him matched up against DJ Augustine. But I just don't see it being a good play in the long-term scheme of that particular game. So I won't have a lot of Kemba Walker tomorrow. I love him when he's at home, but on the road, he's just not somebody who I roster all the time with confidence. Also, MKG can be in play in this game on the Charlotte side, as well as Cody Zeller. Cody Zeller is in play. He's definitely in play in this game. He's not somebody I'm going to have a lot of, but if you're looking for that 5K center, I think he can fit the bill for you. On the Orlando side, Aaron Gordon. We talked about the way we want to attack Charlotte. We attack Charlotte rebounding as well. So that's going to be it's going to be tiers of that. If you want to pay up for Serge Ibaka, you can. You want to pay down a little bit and grab Vucevic, who's going to be coming off of the bench, but still seeing starters minutes, upwards of 30 minutes. If you want to go down a little bit, then you can get Aaron Gordon even further. You can get Bismack Biyombo, who's probably going to start that game, and that's the way you can attack that one. But the next game we're going to talk about is the Indiana Pacers going to Washington to take on the Wizards. It's a 212-point total, with the Washington Wizards being the home favorite, and they are giving up. They're giving up 4 points. The Wizards are giving up 4 points. So I like John Wall. I just can't not like John Wall in this matchup. I think it's going to be a really good play. I think there's also stack potential here. Markieff Morris is somebody who you may be able to get into a couple lineups as well. But I do like Bradley Beal. I think Bradley Beal is going to be a nice play in this game. I would not go Gortat. I like this Washington. I like this Washington team tomorrow against the Indiana Pacers. We know that their main deficiency is at point guard, and John Wall is such a creator and a facilitator that he can make everybody on the floor with him get involved and get into the game while still scoring for himself. So I think that if you're gonna grab John Wall, it would be in your best interest to pair him with somebody else on the team. On the Indiana side of the ball, now Washington isn't that tough against point guards, but it's just the price has come up so far on Jeff Teague, and even after going out and scoring 15 DraftKings points last time, the price is still above 7K, which I think is a travesty. Like that price should not be that high. So I don't like him. The price is up too much. I'm not going to have any Jeff Teague, and he might go out and drop 40. He might go out and drop 40, but I'm not going to have him in any of my lineups at all. I don't like him tomorrow. I think there's too much on the books for us to spend 7.2K on a guy that just had a 15-point DraftKings game and is probably not going to have an awesome game out the next time out. Also, I think Paul George is definitely in play in this game. Miles Turner is somebody who I like in this game. There's a ton of ways you can go when it comes to the Indiana side. But on the Washington side, I like Wall, I like Beal, and I got like a little bit of Markieff Morris. The next game we're going to get into is another game we don't have a point total for. It's the New York Knicks. My New York Knicks at home, going to Atlanta to take on the Atlanta Hawks. There's no point total, like I said, for this game because we do have some injuries to look over. We talked about Paul Millsap being elbowed in the eye and swelled up really bad on him. So we don't know if he's going to be playing tomorrow. Probably is. We've also got an injury on the New York Knicks side. Now we know that Porzingis was just coming off of a little knee situation, but he did play last time out and had a fairly decent game. We also know that Derrick Rose was coming off a little knee tweak situation from him too. Oh no, a back spasm situation for him too. So we want to be on the lookout for those and make sure that those guys are going to be playing and are going to be okay and good to go. Get into the analysis, man. On the Atlanta side, I like Dennis Schroeder. I think you can attack the New York Knicks point guards, but I think the best place to attack the New York Knicks is down low on the block. So if we don't see Paul Millsap, I like Dwight Howard. If we do see Paul Millsap, I like Dwight Howard, but I just don't like him as much. I don't like Paul Millsap. He does not play as well with Howard on the floor. He just doesn't. And, you hear him talking in the press conference, and yeah, Dwight, man, is a great teammate, blah, 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 blah. But you can tell that he really wants to be more involved in the running of the team. But when you've got a talent like Dwight Howard, somebody that big, that physically imposing, you've got to get him the ball. You got to get him the ball. You got to get him the ball. So I do like Dwight Howard tomorrow, and I don't like Paul Millsap at all. One of the guys on Twitter's, the homie Neil, he says, two things I hope you bring up in your video is my boy Bazemore is in a great spot and filling out the turbo slate and putting it in the regular slate. Yo, Will, we already talked about the turbo slates, but Kent Bazemore is dead to me. He's dead. That's just that. Let's move right along. The New York Knicks side, Derrick Rose, we talked about him. He is in play. I do not like Carmelo Anthony tomorrow. Will not be rostering him tomorrow. He does not do enough for me in the way of the peripherals in order for me to roster him with confidence on a 10-game slate. See, there's enough plays on this slate that I'm not rolling shit out there that I'm not happy with. If I can't explain the roster build of each cat, then they don't need to be on my team. On a 4-game slate, you got to do what you got to do. But I got 10 whole games to choose from. I can have lineups that I am happy with. That if I lose at the end of the night, I'm like, well, at least I lost with my guys. Well, if I win, I take full credit for the way I picked them. So the next game I'm going to talk about is one of the lowest point totals on the slate. This is the Detroit Pistons at home against the Milwaukee Bucks. It is a 199-point total, with the Detroit Pistons being the home favorite. They are giving up 3.5. I like Andre Drummond in this game. I think that he plays really well against John Henson, and then he plays even better against Greg Monroe. Now, I also think Greg Monroe is going to have a decent game, too, for his price point. But I love Andre Drummond in this spot. We can also look to KCP. He's going to be a really nice play. He can do no wrong in the coach's eyes. The team had been playing pretty bad for a stretch, and he was the only one playing well. And I think that the coach, Van Gundy, loves him. I think he has the green light to do whatever he wants to do, shoot how he wants to shoot. And I like him tomorrow to be one of the guys that keeps this game very winnable for the Detroit Pistons. That's KCP. I like him tomorrow. I think Tobias Harris is also in play. he's one of their better defenders. He's going to be seeing a lot of Giannis. And just because Giannis is so good and sees a lot of usage, that means that defensive usage is going to go a lot in the way to Tobias Harris, who's going to be on the court a lot. So I think we can look to Tobias Harris. I also like Reggie Jackson some. The price is down on him. He's about 5.2K. This dude is a really good talent, and he's going to explode at some point. And tomorrow might be the night. On the Milwaukee side, not much I really like at all in this game. I don't like too much at all on the Milwaukee side. I think Giannis is overpriced. Jabari Parker is not in a really good spot here. Matthew Dellavedova is not really in a good spot. The game is going to be such low pace that it's hard for us to roster guys from Milwaukee with the confidence it would take to go ahead and do it. Now, the Detroit side isn't that hard because this team is one of the slowest paced teams in the league. We know what they are. But Reggie Jackson and the other guys, they still, in their low paces, they still find a way to get their points. And I don't think we're going to see that from the Milwaukee side. So I'm not rostering pretty much anybody from the Milwaukee side at all. Next game I want to get into is going to be the Brooklyn Nets going to Chicago to take on the Chicago Bulls. This is a 213.5 point total, with the Chicago Bulls giving up 9.5 points. How did Chicago Bulls give up 9.5 points to somebody? I would take that 9.5 if I'm the Brooklyn Nets all day long. I do like Jimmy Butler in this game to bounce back. I think we're going to see a nice game from Dwayne Wade. Also, Robin Lopez, Brooks' brother, is in play at that 4.8 point salary. I like that. We've also got a really nice play on the other side of the ball in Brook Lopez. I think Brook Lopez has a really nice game. He's in line to lead all centers in scoring tomorrow. He's going to have a really nice game against the Chicago Bulls. This is one of the worst jump shooting teams in the league, so we're going to see a lot of rebounding. That is the Chicago Bulls, one of the worst jump shooting teams in the league. We're going to see a lot of rebounding, and that forces them to go to the basket more than most teams in the league too. So we're going to see a lot of block shot attempts, a lot of chances for block shots for Brook Lopez. So I love Brook Lopez in this spot. Who else? I think if we don't see Jeremy Lin, Kilpatrick, we talked about him already. He's definitely in play at his price point. We can also look to Trevor Booker, maybe grab some rebounds, get a small double-double for us at his price point, which would be really good. Next game we're going to talk about is the New Orleans Pelicans at home against the LA Clippers. They are giving up 4.5 points to the Clippers. Remember, the Clippers are a bad team. They are not the Clippers right now. They are just a bad team. And I think we really see Anthony Davis show out against them. This is going to be a really nice game for Anthony Davis. I like him tomorrow. We've got to give some consideration to Drew Holiday. I like him tomorrow. Tim Frazier may see some minutes. Pretty good game you might see from Terrence Jones off of the bench. On the Clippers side, it all rests on who's out. Like if Redick plays, I like him. If he doesn't, then I like Jamal Crawford. The coach's son, not so much. Raymond Felton, not so much. They're going to keep tinkering with the lineup while these guys are out, just like we saw the change where, Paul Pierce started and Raymond Felton started, but then they lost. And the next night, they're not going to roll out the same guys they just lost with, so they mix it up a little bit. That's what's going to happen. It may happen tomorrow if we don't see Chris Paul, J.J. Redick, or, of course, Blake Griffin. We're not going to see him. We know that. The next game is going to be the San Antonio Spurs at home against the Phoenix Suns. I want no part in this game, actually. I really don't want to roster anybody from this game. This is a 213.5 point total, with the San Antonio Spurs giving up 14.5 points to the Phoenix Suns. This game is going to be a blowout. This is an inevitable blowout. That's just what it is. It's going to be a blowout. This game is going to blow out. So I don't really want too much to do with this game, period. I just don't. If I had to go anywhere, I would look to the San Antonio bench. I would look to maybe some Manu Ginobili, maybe some Patty Mills, Dwayne Dedmon, maybe guys like that. If I had to look to the Phoenix side, I would look to maybe some Brandon Knight, some Alex Lynn, maybe guys like that off of the bench. But as far as the starters go, I don't want any part of this game. The next game I'm going to talk about is one of my favorite games on the slate. It's the Minnesota Timberwolves going to Denver to take on the Nuggets. This is a 217.5 point total, with the Denver Nuggets being the home favorite, giving up 4 points to the Minnesota Timberwolves. I like this game. I think Nikola Jokic can be a good play. I think he can be a good play. and I don't want to miss another explosion from him, so I will have him in a few spots. But like I said earlier in the show, this is a dude that is prone to foul trouble when he's playing against athletic, active bigs in the low post. He's very overzealous, tries to block every shot, wants to block every shot, and it's going to pay off for him in a few years once he develops that veteran savvy that he needs. But right now, he's just a guy swatting that flies, and he's gonna definitely pick up a couple fouls, whether it be early or late, whatever. He's gonna pick up a couple fouls against Karl Anthony Towns because he is always going to the basket. He's really good facing the basket as well as back to the basket. So I do like Karl Anthony Towns more than I like Jokic in this game. Probably one of my favorite plays on the slate is also a part of this game, and it's because everybody hates him right now. Nobody wants to play him right now. I think we're going to see sub 10% ownership on this guy on a 10-game slate, and that's Zach LaVine. I love Zach LaVine. I've got that feeling. I just like Zach LaVine tomorrow. I think it's going to be a really good play. Uh, and because of that, I probably won't have much Wiggins. I probably won't have much Gorgie Jang, and I probably won't have much Rick Rubio, even though those guys are in play to some degree. On the Denver side, I think Wilson Chandler is going to be a really nice play. They're going to have to keep him on the floor. He is their best perimeter defender. He's going to have to guard. He's going to have to guard Andrew Wiggins. That's why I don't like Wiggins very much. But I do think that makes Wilson Chandler a more solid play because while he's out there playing defense, he's going to be scoring. He's going to be getting rebounds. He's going to be, getting steals, trying to block shots while he's guarding Andrew Wiggins. So I do like him tomorrow. We can definitely look to Emmanuel Moody, I think, tomorrow because let's just face it, like Ricky Rubio is not very good. He's not very good, and he's especially not a very good defender. So I think Moutier can start off the game well, and usually that's how Mike Malone does. If the guys he starts are playing well, he leaves them in. If they're not, he yanks them, and you may not see him for the rest of the game. So that is the only risk that we have with rostering Emmanuel Moutier tomorrow. Next game we're going to get into is probably going to be a very competitive late game and a really competitive game. This is going to be the Portland Trailblazers at home against the Sacramento Kings. I love Boogie in this game. I actually love Miles Plumlee in this game. I think we can get some Rudy Gay in there. I gave him one day just to see how he looked. He looked pretty good. Looks like he's ready to go. So I do like Rudy Gay tomorrow. The price is down just a little bit. It was right approaching 7K before the injury. Now it's down to about 6.3, 6.2. That's way more manageable. So I do like Rudy Gay tomorrow. We already know there's the second funeral in the DFS sweatshop was for Darren Collison. He is dead to me, so I want nothing to do with him. That also puts Ty Lawson in play a little bit. I kind of like him at his price point. On the Portland side, you just get CJ McCollum in your lineups. Listen. If we find out before lock that Dame is not playing, get CJ McCollum in your lineup. This dude should be and probably is going to be the highest owned player on a slate that we see this year. On a 10-game slate that we see this year, this is probably going to be the highest owned player. I'm talking about 50% owned, 45% owned. That's what he needs to be. That's what he needs to be because he is just the offense. He is the only form of offense for the Portland Trailblazers while Dame Lillard is out. So I love McCollum tomorrow. He's going to be in 90% of my lineups easily. All right. I think while we're going there, while we're staying on that track, Evan Turner gets a usage bump. Definitely, he plays. He's probably the player who plays the most between the first and second team. He sees first team and second team minutes a lot of times. So I think he's going to be a really good play at 4.2K. You can't argue with that. Al-Farouq Aminu is another player I like, as well as Maurice Harkless. So I like a lot about this game. I think we can stack this in the late and throw that shit in the main, and it might do something there. So I do like that. The next game we're going to talk about is the Golden State Warriors at home in the Oracle against the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors are coming to town in a 225.5 point total, with the Golden State Warriors giving up 9.5 points. A lot of home favorites today on today's slate. So when we're looking at our roster builds, let's try to roster cats at home. Let's look for that. Let's look to roster guys that are at home. we've got a lot of home favorites on the slate tonight. On the Golden State side, probably the best play, I think, on the slate tonight is going to be Kevin Durant. He's the leader. He's the star of this team. He wants to come out after falling down like a little bitch in Cleveland. And losing. He wants to come out and make a really big statement and play well. I think he's going to do that tomorrow against the Toronto Raptors. That is the weakest position, defense by position on their team is the small forward spot. And I think we're going to see a really nice game from Kevin Durant. This also puts people like it kind of takes Draymond Green a little bit off the table, because I think we were going to see a really good rebounding game from Kevin Durant too. So I like Kevin Durant. I like Steph Curry in this game a little bit. I also like Klay Thompson. This is the first time this season where I wouldn't roster Draymond Green in a game at the Oracle. First time. It's the first time. On the Toronto side, I think we can fire up Lowry and DeRozan. Because if this game stays remotely close, it's going to be because those two guys had a good game. So I do like Lowry and DeRozan. We can look to Lucas Nogueira. We talked about him as a punt option because you know they're going to take Jonas Valanciunas off of the floor. He's going to be gassed like shit right going into the second quarter. We're going to see some Patrick Patterson in this game. He's gonna be a really good cheap punt option if he can knock down some threes, help him keep the game close. This is going to be a very entertaining game. I think it's going to be closer than 9.5 points, but I do have Golden State taking this game and the game going over the 225-point total. This has been your DFS Jerusalem. Thank you so much for attending. Man, just today made contact. We got the t-shirts. And remember how we just had the white t-shirts? Now we've got the white, we've got black, we've got the white t-shirts and black hoodies. They're really nice. They should be coming in soon. But if you want to get one now, you can go ahead and pre-order it. It's going to be on the bottom of this video in the comments. You can definitely do that. As I said, I'm your DFS Jerusalem. You can follow me on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. If you want to support the show, aside from copping you some DFS swag, there are many ways. Look to the left or to the right, where it's going to be. You're going to see that box. Click that box. Do what it tells you to do. It will show you how to support the show. You can go to the website, www.dfssweatshop.com. That is where you can receive all of our mini services. We just started another VIP Facebook group for the people that have recently paid their subscription fees. We're going to be welcoming you into the VIP via email. No problem with that. And also, my personal PayPal is simmonsmaurice95 at yahoo.com. This has been your DFS Jerusalem. I want y'all to have a very safe, very fun, very profitable Wednesday. And remember, in the DFS Sweatshop, our #1 goal is to keep it 300.